So as you know, we had Drex on my show. Love my boy Drex. And we've been talking about shows for a while. Because I mean, I guess it's kind of common knowledge now, but after the what do they call it, the pill stream, right? Nick's personal pill stream. You know the one. This one right here. Let me pull it up. I'll pull it up right. The Nick's pill stream. So like when Drex saw that, I mean, look, even Nick will probably agree immediately. I mean, he deleted the show. He'd probably agree overtly that was it was fucked, right? It was pretty fucked. So that being said, Drex messages me, obviously, and he's like, "Hey, I'm on my way to go. I'm gonna go to Nick's house in 2 days." Right? He's like, "I'm gonna go see what's going on." And then I was like, "All right, let me know like what's going on." And he's like, "Are you open to flying out here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't. Yeah, after my race in Charlotte, I'll fly out there. I don't care, you know." Because I had like 2 or 3 weeks off after Charlotte, so I was like, "Yeah, dude, let's do it." And then of course, as you know, perfect timing. It did not matter after like another day, like a 1 day later or 2 days later was over. And me and Drex has kept contact since then. And every time something kind of happens, we kind of talk about it because that's what you do, right? It's it started off being like worried about your friend, worrying about the situation, watching how it's playing out. So we talk back and forth about it. And as the situation progresses more and more and more, it starts getting more and more daunting. And you're more and more unhappy instead of like worried. You're kind of more unhappy now that the situation is playing out the way it is. And then it comes down. It starts to it went from like, hey, is this certain thing really that bad? It is, but it's like that was like kind of like the conversation. And then when the test came out, the hair follicle test, that kind of threw everything away, I think. And then the only really then all this, like all the normal stuff about the case kind of didn't mean anything anymore. Now it's like, wow, that doesn't matter anymore. Now it's way worse, right? So that's when I think everybody was like, all right, now because now you have to explain what happened. Oh yeah, Aaron. Oh yeah, Aaron. Like Aaron, he was trying to get the cloud off of it. I get it, but Aaron was arguably the only person that could have really probably said something. And now, granted, I know Nick's a real stubborn guy. I mean, he'd admit that. So I mean, he probably couldn't have done anything, but like he's the only guy that had power to fucking stop probably anything from happening, especially if it had involved children. So then like the situation turned into the hair follicle test, right? Now we have to explain why this is not real. And that is something just hard to do. It's very hard to do. And it kind of circled around was someone had made contact during the like raid, and that's why this test happened. But the more you research the test and the test results, how it works, and the metabolites, it's metabolized through the blood. It's the inner follicle that's tested. It's not the outer follicle. It's the inner follicle that's tested, and it's what was metabolized through the blood. So now contamination's out of the conversation, and then it moves to how the fuck did this happen? And the only thing that you can kind of say is hey chick, shut your ass. Somebody intentionally grabbed a hair from a straight up coke addict and intentionally ran this test with that hair to intentionally fuck over, Nick's case. Now, is that out of the realm of possibility? No. Is it likely? I don't think so. And that's kind of what my position was when this happened. And I think Drex held a way more violent position than I did. Because we talked about it, and he was like, absolutely not. He's pretty much done. He was not happy at all. And I'm not going to, dive into what we talked about, but it's just when you start researching how these tests are administered and the results and how false positive can and almost can't happen. It starts to be like you get more unhappy as you read this shit. You start getting way more unhappy when you read it. You're like, fuck. Lady Aaron D says, can they retest? Yes. So that's kind of I think that's what's going on right now. Like without overtly just saying shit, I'm pretty sure that's the step. That's the next step. And I think once that happens, and if for some odd reason it comes back and it's not, then you have a whole different conversation. Well, what they do is they have backup hairs for future retesting. It's from what I read. I talked to somebody that actually is in the field of this exact thing, in DMs for like hours. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not assuming guilt or vice versa, but it's kind of like a freak thing where we have a situation where you were caught with a gun in your hand that's smoking and there's a dead body on the floor. Now explain why it was not you, and you can't explain who it was. You know what I'm saying? It's we're at that point. And so it's like an uphill battle. What we boil it all down to is there were still children there. And that's like why did it just shouldn't have happened, Eat What Monkeys Eat says, yes or no, do you believe the child was given drugs? If yes, how can you justify having a relationship after that? Do I believe that the child was given drugs? Damn, you gonna really ask me this question, bro? Ow! Fuck! You trying to kill me, aren't you? I can't see it happening. You know what I'm saying? I can't physically see it happening. It's hard. I can't physically see that shit happening in front of me. All I can do is like paint scenarios on how it could have happened. Right? I can't physically just be like, yeah, I can see that happening, or no, I can't see that happening. But it's just not an easy yes or no question. But there's pictures for how I can paint one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to say. It's very hard to say. So, but the I think back to what Aaron said about the healing properties of like medicinal cocaine, right? And how great it is. So then your mind wanders, and people were really mad at me over this, by the way. I don't really know why. I was just talking about hypothetical scenarios. But you know how the internet is, oh, he said this is what he thinks. No, I'm saying that maybe there's all these, and that's what I'm explaining right now, Simone. If an individual believes there's medicinal healing properties in a drug, then is it so outlandish to believe that maybe if you truly believe that, you would self-medicate people in your family that you think could benefit from something like that? Maybe, I don't fucking know. But that's the only way I can see it being real. I could never see a situation where it's like, oh, here's some cocaine, right? You know what I'm saying? It's hard to see that situation. But I also don't like watching Faces of Death videos. So hey, this is me. If so, how can you justify having a relationship? No, it wouldn't. Would not. Absolutely not. Look, I'm not going to be one of those guys that can't answer that. Yeah, if that was overtly true, if Nick came out tomorrow and was like, yes, look, I admit it. I gave my children drugs. This is a hypothetical scenario. Yeah, I'd be like, well, that'd be the end of it. Like, know what I'm saying? Wall. That's an easy question. Wall. You know what I'm saying? Very easy to answer that one. Eat What Monkey says, I can't see Nick doing it. However, I never thought I'd see the wife swap shit either. Oh, you know what? Weirdly enough, I agree with that. I agree with you. The wife swap thing. I could see Nick fucking dicking down bitches for sure. Like, I don't fuck. I guess that doesn't really matter anymore. Like being coy about it. Like I could see him doing that all day. But absolutely not. I never really thought about. I didn't, And I think I inject a little bit of my personal view in that. I could never do that shit. Dude, I could never. I am not the kind of man that can watch my chick get dick down. Oh my god, I cannot do it. I don't see how dudes do it. I just don't see it. Oh fuck, that'd kill me. Whew. Makes my skin quiver. But yeah, no. Me and Drex had a stream yesterday, or the day before yesterday, and I laughed at a certain joke. I don't remember what I laughed at. And yeah, Nick was not happy with me, but we talked it out. He texted me, and I was like, oh shit. I don't even remember what it was, to be fair, because I didn't read it until later. But then we kind of talked about, and I'll become transparent. I was like, what's going on with this case, and how could something like this happen? You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm talking about specifically, but I'm like, just how could this happen? That's kind of where I was at. I'm like, because I think everybody I shouldn't say everybody, but people close, they just want to know how the fuck did this possibly happen? And, the response was pretty much, I don't know. Absolutely have no idea. And that's when I was like, okay, well, how do we request the test be redone? You know what I'm saying? BG Corporation says, can I be honest about Nick? I love Nick. I like some of his views, especially free speech, guns, drugs with regulation. However, why is he being such a bitch about every little joke? Well, it's because, he's going through, look, regardless of if you are disgusted by whatever is going on, or you're not, or you're defending it, or you're not defending it, or whatever side you may find yourself on, Nick as an individual is going through the shit. He's going through the shit. So he will be more hypersensitive to any comment, I would imagine. I mean, I would be. Right?